Courtney, I know there's a lot of activity going on over at IRS, and I have to say, as a personal, experience, when I get onto the IRS and unfortunately pay my taxes, it is a pleasant experience. I don't like it, but it's fantastic. It really has. You all have really upped your game there as far as that's concerned. And I know, as Barbara has pointed out, big effort over there to do this omni-channel and meet the customer or the business where they are. So tell us all about it.
Well, first of all, I have Janet stealing my thunder. Say, we are the largest revenue collector in the federal government. And, I think recognizing that extreme privilege that we have to serve, so much of the American public. You're right. We are focused intently on figuring out how we can make the experience better for everyone. And like Barbara said, our focus is also on, digital first, but not digital only. Because if you have a tax problem, it's likely to be complex. And, so we want to make sure that we have as many digital options as are possible. But if you get stuck in our gears and you need a human, we need to make sure that that is available as well. I like to talk about, we have over 160 million tax returns filed every year. And I mean, that's a lot of tax returns. And a lot of them are not simple. Most of them are not simple. I mean, if you've seen one tax return, you've seen one tax return. That being said, 80% of our taxpayers, now this is a back of the envelope number, our 80-20 rule of thumb, 80% of taxpayers do what they need to do. They file electronically, they get their refund electronically in 21 days or less typically, or they pay timely, and then they don't think about us again until next year. And we found that that's the experience that most taxpayers want. Now, 20% of our taxpayers get, stuck in our gears somehow. They might get a notice from us, or they remember that they didn't include a W-2 on their return or a 1099 or something after they've already filed, and they need to do something after the filing season. Now, when you think about that 80-20, from year to year, you could be in the 80% one year or the 20% and 20% the next year, just because of changes in your financial circumstances, changes in the law, whatever. So we are working very hard to understand the experience of those folks who fall out into the 20%, while at the same time making sure that we don't do anything that hurts the experience for the 80%, and in fact try to enhance it where we can. So a big example of where we're doing this work is in our Simple Notices project. That project started a few years ago, but we've really accelerated some of the additions to our online accounts. So we have the most, I like to say the most popular notices, but they're really the most frequently sent notices, because I don't know if the receiver of those notices really thinks that they're popular. I tease. But those notices are in our online accounts. So when those things hit the mail, they also are in your online account. And by the way, you can now opt in our online accounts to get your notices digitally. And I know that for a lot of people, I have informed delivery with USPS. And I love to know what I'm getting in the mail. And I often, if I have an online option, I will quickly go on and see what that mail might be in my online account. Now you can opt in to either get those notices without getting them in the USPS, or you can get them in the USPS but still see them in your online account immediately, which I think gives people a lot of relief to be able to know what's going on with their account, and they can solve a lot of things in their accounts as well.
Sure.
The big move on that in that space is we've also added business notices. We had about 4 at the beginning of this year, and now we're up to 160. So we're progressing as quickly as we can to make sure that taxpayers have the information they need at their fingertips when they need it in those online accounts.